Start.
Hey, how you doing? My mom's kind of telling me to do this right now. A few things I really want to talk about, and one of the biggest things I want to talk about is civil unrest. For those who don't know what civil unrest means, it's just a new terminology for martial law.
Woo, martial law. Bad.
Oh, absolutely bad. That means if you're pro-American, flying the flag, I'm letting you know right now, that flag will be coming after you. Because the people that's coming after you will be wearing that flag, will be flying that flag. At that time, there's no allegiance to any nation or any country. Just to let you know that there's this thing called FEMA camps. FEMA it means Federal Emergency Management Agency. To the normal person, that sounds really, really good. Like during when Hurricane Katrina hit, for instance. They were down there, this and that, to help with disaster relief and this and that. But what they also have is, let me go a little bit of history on that just for a second real quick. Back when George Bush Jr., yeah, the big idiot, doing the big idiot as you think he was, he actually had the actual director of FEMA part of the cabinet at the time. Well, when Obama, the abomination.
Oh, the one that was a senator and had people put fake names from graveyards to get elected?
Oh, absolutely, but he wasn't the only one. I mean, it's been several presidents and governors, mayors. I mean, all through American history that's done this. I mean, in matter of fact, it wasn't just American history that's ever done this. I mean, the British Empire's done that.
Around the world.
Yeah, around the world. It's happened all through history. When it comes to democracy itself, in a way, you know what? I'm not even going to get in that because that's really just for a different story right there. When Obama became the president, he actually demoted the director of FEMA out of the cabinet and brought Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is being part of the
Didn't they combine them together in one unit?
They did, which means that FEMA is under the Department of Homeland Security. To most people, that doesn't seem really bad, but it really, really is. And I'm going to give you a few points of how it's bad. So, basically, FEMA, not only are they disaster relief, but they control food stamps, they control HUD, they control government assistance. Any of that stuff right there goes through FEMA, which most people don't know. Well, you need to know these things because it's going to lead up to where I'm getting at with all of this. Back during World War II, we have what we have is called the Japanese internment camps. For those who don't know history or who has forgotten history, when after Pearl Harbor, we rounded up all the Japanese Americans.
And it was wrong.
As
Very
I said,
wrong.
I mean, and the key word was Americans. Beyond anything else, Americans. Over 120,000 Japanese Americans. Now, if you're a racist and you don't care, you can go fuck yourself right now. You're just another bigot out there who believes into the system. But but just to let you know, this happened. The genocide with the American Indians happened. We rounded them up into camps as well.
The Trail of Tears and all that, all in the name of the government.
We gave them the shittiest land. We fed them rotten meat that had maggots. That was just bad. We were literally crushing baby skulls with the heel of our boots. We were burning them alive. We were raping women. To say all this never happen, it happened. And also, what we had done with the African slaves. Well, that right there is definitely common knowledge on that right there. Everybody
And it wasn't just America, it was all around the world that was having slavery. And the bad thing about it, it was many of their own people, their own races, that was selling them into the slavery.
Well, absolutely. But what makes us the worst about that is that we find a way to justify that. We say the American flag means freedom, that is all about freedom. The only time in American history that we ever fought for freedom. It was during the Revolutionary War against the British. Before that, those slaves that came over here, was under the British flag and also was under the American flag. Never the Confederate flag. Not one time. And the Confederate flag that most everybody says was not the Confederate flag.
So this is the reason the FEMA camps was developed, basically, to supposedly help. Because I remember reading articles talk about how they're talking about creating these camps for homeless people, and supposedly to give them their help for mental capacities and get them on their feet. The problem is, once they check in a lot of these FEMA camps, they're not going to be able to check out. Is what's going to happen.
That's part of it. That's part of it. But I have to give a little history about this from where I'm going to build up to my point, because it's very, very important to actually know. You don't have to be an expert in history, but you need to know at least some of your history, and not the skewed version that you hear in textbooks nowadays, or what you hear from hearsay from other people. Because everything that I'm telling you right now, you can look every bit of this up right here. But we've done all of this.
We tend to sugarcoat it. We want it, and we're not just in the United States, around the world. Some of these so-called leaders that were some of the most tyrants, and they sent them to these camps, were some of the most ruthless, paranoid people there was. But you got people singing their praises of how great they were.
Oh, absolutely. Some of the other things I'm trying to get to too, though, is because I'm getting all that right there too. We are now. What most of y'all actually don't know, during World War II, we actually had POW camps here. POW.
Oh, we did. We had Germans here.
Yeah, not just Germans. We had the Italians and also the Japanese prisoners. But most people don't know. And POW meaning prisoner of war. Let me repeat that. Prisoner of war. We brought them here to America. No reason. There's no reason that we should have ever done that, because we're setting ourselves up for some really bad juju at that point. So what's happening right now? We're actually rebuilding those renovations. Also, some of these old prison complexes that we've had that was shut down. Like, for instance, I'll give you a good example of one right now in Baldwin, Michigan, the village of Baldwin. I actually lived there for off and on for about 2 years. There was a prison there. They reopened that for about 3 or 4 months with the renovations and all that. It was actually a private company that owns most of these prisons. Well, just out of the blue, they shut it. They shut the whole thing down. There was more guards than there are prisoners. Well, I don't know about you, but that's a huge red flag right there. That's a huge red flag. And as of right now, there are still guards there. There's no prisoners in there, but there's still guards. That doesn't set very well with me whatsoever. Well, these are the same things that Hitler did during his reign. He had camps everywhere. And I'm about to get to another great point here. Now, y'all think that the dirty hobos do not exist anymore? They're very much alive. There's a brand new generation. Typically, they're called the dirty kids or the train kids. Is usually what they're called nowadays. But they're still, if you think about the old terminology of a hobo, they're train hoppers. They go all over the United States, and I'm a part of that system. I'm a part of the underground. So I know a lot of people in there. I've even hopped a few trains, and I'm gonna tell you, as adrenaline rush, it's cool. But that's a whole different topic right there. But what Hitler did, and even Stalin and Mao and all them, the only way to get to some of these prisons was actually by train. The only way. Which, I'm pretty sure that most of y'all actually know some of your history about that. The fact is, though, that they were loading up on trains and picking up prisons. And coming from, reliable source of information from these kids, they have seen prisons in the middle of nowhere, and the only access to these prisons is by train. I don't know about you.
Made me worried.
That kind of scares the living shit out of me to a point, because it's like, why would that be that way? If you think it's just for criminals, I got something new for you right there. It's not. It's been uncovered that children has come up missing everywhere around the United States, and there was one in Texas. I think it was near Houston, actually. Now you can call this dude a kook or whatever, but he's uncovered a lot of stuff. He's foretold a lot of things before it even happened. And if you actually research your laws, you will know that this is not a lie. But he found this prison, and this prison had children playing on swings. Now there's a way that the barbed wire fencing is set up. Now, if the fence is actually, if the barbed wire is tilted away from the prison, that means it's to keep people out. But if you see that barbed wire tilted in, that's to keep people in. Well, these barbed wires are tilted in. Well, when he went in and tried to actually ask them for information, they would not talk to him. They denied everything. They wouldn't give information about the children that were there. It's a prison, but you didn't see prison, but you saw children there.
Yeah, so all this ties into FEMA camps and everything. When people don't realize that the FEMA camp is just a small fragment of all of this as one unit.
Absolutely, and there are over 800 FEMA camps.
That's a lot. People don't realize there's that many.
There's actually a few in Canada. There's actually a few in Mexico. We have FEMA camps actually all over the world. But most of them are actually right here. And it's not just in the old prisons and old POW camps. It's also on our military bases. Matter of fact, you've got some of them are like as 30 miles long. Man, that's pretty damn big. And there's actually one in Florida in the Panhandle. It's 30 miles. There's one of the camps in Montana ordered 500,000 shackles and handcuffs. Some of them are that big, and some only will hold, between 15 to 30,000 people.
So you think in these FEMA camps, well, they'll encourage people to go to them?
Oh no, that's not no. There's a system that's there. Of course, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of speculations of the color system, which all through history we've always done some kind of marking system, whether it be colors, or matter of fact, look at Germany. They put stars on them. The Star of David, of what I have right here. That's my dude right there. Ain't nobody more strong and more righteous and more loving and more caring and showed more mercy than the second king of Israel. I'm not Jewish, but but my faith. He literally started the royal bloodline for Jesus Christ himself to be able to take the throne. But we're not so much going to go into the religious or faith aspect.
So you don't think that you see on these TV shows and movies where they tell them to go to these camps, for rescue and all this other stuff.
I think that could be one scenario, but I think it's going to be probably more of a quarantine at first. It's a blockade of cities. There's what's called Jade Helm 15. It's a military exercise that's going on the Southwest through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. The way the Constitution was set up, that we are not to have a military force here to do anything like that. Now, our law enforcement that we do have, they are to not so much enforce law, but just to regulate. And it's more of victim crimes, not the victimless. Like a busted taillight, you're getting a fine for that. You go smoke a little bit of weed, that doesn't hurt anybody. Matter of fact, you can go do crack, you can go do meth, you can be an alcoholic. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Ain't none of my business, ain't none of your business, ain't none of nobody's business. If they want to hurt themselves, then that's that's prerogative. Getting a little bit off topic about that, but what's going to happen is, when it comes to civil unrest, it could be a lot of things that happen. It could be a financial collapse. It could be a lot of number of things that's going to be able to happen. But what's going to happen is that most people are going to be on house arrest to start out with.
Martial law.
Martial law. But you're going to have the ones that's going to be basically a red color coded.
Ones that dangerous. They feel that's a threat.
We are. That means that we are the leaders. We stand against status quo. We stand against government and we stand against government. We stand against corporations. We stand against everything that they stand for. Because it's government, because it's corporation doesn't mean it's righteous. Because it's law doesn't mean it's righteous. Now you're going to have the ones that's kind of like in the middle, more of like the blue colors. The blue colors is more as in you're on the fence. You're more of the followers of the leaders of the reds. So a lot of you are going to be killed off, as far as that goes. But some of y'all are going to be able to be swayed back over. Now the yellows, there's going to be a whole bunch of yellows because I'm sorry, most people are sheep.
Bah.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of y'all will do whatever that you think your God, which you call the government and the corporations, is your God. You better think very, very carefully about what you are doing, what you stand for. Because if you do not, we're about to go into a world that Hitler and
So basically, like you
the
said,
governmental communist talks about.
when martial law gets declared, they're going to come in and going to start cleaning out these preppers and these survivalists and bushcrafters and stuff, and they've got a list already of the names.
Oh, absolutely. And matter of fact, I implore everybody to actually look up. This is basically the 10 Commandments for the New World Order, the Georgia Guidestones. It talks about a population no more, in a population not to exceed more than 500 million around the world. It talks about a lot. It talks about stuff. It sounds good, but it really, really isn't.
No, it's bad.
It's very, very bad. We're talking about a mass culling. And culling means a genocide.
Oh, yeah.
It means weeding out the population. And it said everything that I have just said, go look this up and say, I got a lot more information, but I got to tie this up a little bit because, the video's getting kind of running kind of short and everything. But as I said, look every bit of this up and prepare yourselves. And I'll let you know there's a lot of technology out there, like infrared and thermal. So when you look for a place, look for some place like a cave or whatnot, some place that thermals cannot penetrate. Think about how to actually improvise a cloak or clothing that can help protect you from actually putting out any kind of body heat. Things are getting bad, and it's going to happen. One way or another, it is going to happen. And if you don't start thinking about it right now, and maybe preparing a few things off grid someplace, if you don't care about your own life, think about your children. Think about the loved ones that you have. Think about it, especially your children. Do you really want your children to end up in that system? Do you want your children tortured? Do you want your children dead? Matter of fact, and probably what's worse than that, do you want your children brainwashed? They will turn on you. It's
happened in the past.
It's the Roman Empire's happened, the Persian Empire, the Mesopotamian Empire. It's happened all through history. And if you don't believe anything I have to say, go look this stuff up for yourself.
Well, this here now, Tweety Bird, Sweet Talk. Now this here, he's talked to a lot of these articles. Look them up, research them. We're going to end this video, but he's made up 10 good points. Check it out. He's lived out there. He's seen all this stuff, first-hand information. FEMA camps, I don't trust them, don't want to go to them, don't want to be locked up in them. So, Tweety Bird, what's our slogan?
Oh, be careful, be safe.
Oh, it's be safe, be happy, and bless you all.
Absolutely.